everybody, it's Jason here at the Anaheim NAMM show, and that was Brian from Dunlop, and I'm here with Bob, and we are going to look at a handful of new pedals you guys brought to the show. So what they were listening to on the intro there was the Conquistador Fuzz, right? Tell us about that one.
The Conquistador Fuzz is like we like to call it a Velcro fuzz. It's a big square wave fuzz. And here's what it sounds like, bypass. And here's what it's a nasty fella. Desert rock in a box, you know those guys, them stoner rock guys. What I was doing is I had rolled off the volume. Oh, one thing I want to tell you is nothing. It's got a gate in it.
Yeah.
So when you roll off the volume, the gate barely opens up. It gets all.
A real tight gate, yeah.
It's the broken cable pedal. Mr. Cedro will tell you all about the technology involved.
Yes.
Well, not to get too technical, actually, well, all it is just a threshold, a line in the sand. If it doesn't go over it, there's no signal. Once it goes over it, it lets all that square wave come through. So essentially, you can use it like Brian does when he backs off the volume and doing a sort of like a squirrely effect. But you bring up your volume, then you punch through the that level. So that it just comes through nice and spitty and nice and nasty, as Brian would say. But then when it dies down, or you stop playing, you're not going to hear any shh. So it's super high gain, but no noise.
Now this is a vintage style circuit, is that correct?
Yeah, well, yeah, it is a vintage style of fuzz, but it really emphasizes on, as Brian said, the square wave aspect of it. So you got all these really nasty, beautiful harmonics. We don't roll off any of those things in an extreme, so it really is colorful. However, if you do want to roll things off, you have a tone control. It's very important. So it doesn't have to be in that so far nasty area, but you back off the level, and then if Brian backs it off here like this, and it cleans up.
Is the gate, the threshold of the gate adjustable at all? Or is that fixed?
It's fixed in. You know, less is more.
Sure,
you know, and it's optimal. You know, the way the circuit is, it's the threshold is an optimal thing for the whole gain structure.
Yep.
And it enables you to just back the volume down, and now you're in this sort of spitty mode.
Right on. All right, keep them.
Contrast
Yes.
to
Right next to it, we have more fuzz.
the Russian Pickle, which is your 90s muff fuzz style, big square wave.
The secret sauce is the BC 183 Cs. So that is where the tone starts to generate, and then with the fingers, obviously, you get.
Let's hear a little bit of this one, Brian.
Full body,
Yeah.
not too raspy. The high end is really nice and warm and tapered, but it has presence.
Instant Smashing Pumpkins.
Well, kind of Smash Pumpkins, or some of these garage blues bands that are coming out in the early 2000s. One thing I wanted to say in contrast to the regular swollen pickle is that this has less controls, but also I think has a little bit more mid-focus and a little less gain in the structure, so there's more clarity to the note. And I also think bass players are really going to like this as well.
All right, now we have a mini version of one of your classic pedals up here. They have the mini Dyna comp.
Mini Dyna comp. It has the classic script logo IC 3080 can that's in there, which Bobby will tell you about it. But the thing that's cool about it, I really like the sound of that can. But it has an added feature of an attack button, and Bobby will tell you about that as well, which I really, really like. But it's mini, it has the LED, it has the 9-volt in, but it has that classic script logo sound. However, that attack feature I find to be amazing. And you know what, in this instance, it's really hard to hear the subtleties of a compression, and compression is really a feel thing. It just adds a certain amount of buoyancy. I run it all the time and just kind of drive through the line. I even put it before the tuner just so that the tuner grabs a good note. Bobby will tell you about the IC and the attack function.
Well, yeah, it's just an old school, like from the late 70s, the CA 3080 in a can. It's got a bit more dynamic range, more headroom, that equals more clarity. But so that's in there. Also, it has a attack button. And what we're doing is we're not letting the thing squish all the way. So the attack of the note still is lively and energetic, and then because it wasn't squished so far down, it doesn't need as much time to recover either. So the next preceding note, you hear it too. So literally it manipulates the attack more than anything. However, holding a note, it still has the same amount of gain sustained in the back end.
He said sustain. One thing I wanted to add is that I really like the sound of that IC, that 3080. It has a real nice warm, and he says that there's the high headroom. However, sometimes it gets too squishy and it sounds too processed. That attack button, to me, makes it more transparent sounding, and it adds, you still get that buoyancy and the sustain, but I don't feel like there's a big blanket on top of my sound.
Right on. Cool. All right, now the blue one over here, the Il Diavolo. Make sure we say that right.
I don't know. I don't speak Italian. Our good friend Carlos Cerasi, he came up with this design, and it's a mid-focused overdrive, and he has 3 different clipping options available. One in the low position is the silicon asymmetrical. In the middle position is the op amp, which is a little more transparent to my ears, and up in the high position, I believe, is the LEDs. Is that correct, Bobby? Why don't you tell them what those things are doing?
Yeah, well, essentially it's different degrees of saturation, and also different degrees of how long the signal stays in saturation on a sustained note. So the lower setting, it's going to sit in the sustained mode and saturated mode for quite a long time. And it also has a bit more compression feeling, so tactily, and it's something that, again, all these little different nuances also affect the tactile feel of how it's reacting. So saturation in low mode, asymmetrical, gives it a nice odd sort of symmetry to it, and different harmonics pop out. The middle is what I like. It's very transparent sounding. Op amp clipping, and it'll clean up easier, especially when you back off on the volume. And the LEDs have a little bit of a different roll-off when they start to conduct, so it's a little softer around the knee, but it's still a bigger signal too. So it'll sustain less in a saturated mode, so it's a little bit more clarity. So you go from super saturated, clear, and then semi.
I think it's a great idea.
All right, so I'm going to start off on the low setting, but first here.
This is asymmetrical.
This is asymmetrical. It's the low setting, asymmetrical silicon.
That's bypassed.
Classic and very rich in harmonics.
Yeah. And then here is the middle position, which is the op amp. It's a lot louder and a little more transparent. And then last but not least, the LED.
It's a perfect marriage between the super saturated and then the old.
There's no such thing as a perfect marriage.
Well, we try. We can wish, can't we?
It's a lot of work.
So Brian, tell me a little about availability and prices on these 4 pedals we looked at today.
All right. The Dyna comp is going to be shipping in April, and that's $99.99. Are you out your mind? The Russian Pickle is shipping now at a $159. The Conquistador, which is going to be limited, that is shipping now at $149. These are all street prices.
Yep.
And then the Il Diavolo, $129, and that's shipping now as well.
Excellent. And of course, where can people go online to find out about everything Way Huge, Dunlop, MXR?
JimDunlop.com, baby.
All right, Bob, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming by.
Brian,
Thanks,
thank you so
man.
much.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Show.
This is Jason Shadrick with PremierGuitar.com.